everybody, and welcome to the second part in our vodcast series with Lee from Reform. So Lee, hello. This is your series, which is Couch to CEO. And last week was the first one, and we started with around your why and your goals and how you need to put these in place really to get things moving. But you can put whys and goals in place, you can change as they move along, but you've constantly got to have that in your mind. So thank you very much for joining us again. I know last week was very well received.
Having me, appreciate it.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of positive feedback from it. So what are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about marketing, something that a lot of people think they know what they're doing, but potentially don't, and can be a bit of a minefield. So I will hand over to you.
I super appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me again. I really appreciate it. Yeah, cool. So I wanted to talk about marketing today, just for the reason that I've bungled it so many times previously with other businesses, and a lot of the businesses we work with now, I can see them sort of going through the same things that I feel like I did years and years ago. So I wanted to talk about some different types of marketing, how you can work them around your business and make them work for you. And hopefully there's a little nice bit of value there for you guys. So we will see. So let's talk about the beast. First of all is PPC, so pay per click, which is where most of you will know Google, Bing, Facebook, Instagram, Snap, all of those things, where you're basically bidding for keywords. Without going too down the rabbit hole, the issue with that, and like we were talking about before, is that you can chuck a load of money at it, but you're up against the big guys. You know, there's companies out there that are easily spending £1 million a week on sticking at the top of Google in the ads kind of thing. So for a lot of us, we can't compete with that yet. So yeah, yet.
And I think it's really important that people understand that what's a lot of money to them. So, you know, their budget might be £1,000, which is a lot of money a month for them to spend on marketing. But like you've just very rightly pointed out, you've got other companies that you're competing with that are spending £1 million a week. So is your £1,000 best invested there, or should you invest it in other areas?
Yeah, really good point. And I mean, this is the thing, and I've seen it time and time again. I've done it time and time again before I realized, where you might you might pull a grand budget and you're like, right, cool, I've got £1,000 to spend over a month. I'll stick it on Facebook ads or Google ads or something like that, and it's gone. What? Yeah. And you're like, I haven't learned anything. That just ate that up in like a day or two, you know. And people will often try and do the job of a marketing agency, which is what we do a lot now, after learning these horrible things firsthand. But so that's one of those things. If you've got budget and you've got time, PPC is the definite thing to do, and especially if those two things are in place. But it can also take a lot of time. It's like SEO; it can take 3 months, 6 months, 12 months to get your optimization correct, which is a continual process. It can take a similar amount of time to be split testing things and making sure everything's in its right place, and if this is working, why, if this isn't working, why not, and stuff like that. So that's kind of the beast that's worth aiming towards once you've got the budget there. But in the early days for any business, and because you are competing against these people, you know, that have already been in the game for quite a while and know what they're doing on that side of things, how can you get around that? Well, our way of doing it, and what we talk to a lot of our clients about, is being noisy, really cutting through what everyone else is doing with no budget or limited budget. And if that's the case, you can do things. You can employ like guerrilla marketing, sort of publicity stunt, that kind of mindset, which we'll talk about in a sec. Old school, knocking on doors, phone calls, like literally cold calling's a pain in the bum, I know, but it's one of those things. The way that I would see that is everyone else is cold calling. So how can I get in front of the director straight away? I'll go to the office. I'll drive to the office, knock on the door. And then you can knock for as long as it takes to get them to answer the door. And they'll either tell you where to go, or they go, fair play, come and have a coffee. If they tell you where to go, you keep doing it until they let you in, or put a restraining order on you, which, you know,
that's another
builds resilience, I suppose. Yeah. That's the After the Watershed podcast. So things like that can work really well. And I would say this is, from my days as a touring musician, we were always taught. I had a really good teacher at one point, and he always said to me, he was like, just make sure that people know who you are. If you, it doesn't matter how good you are at anything. If your product or service is absolutely amazing and no one knows about it, go figure, right? So
Yeah.
so the idea is that you can do that. The other thing that's worth talking about and touching on is the sort of minimal viable product of when is something perfect enough to be able to actually market it and put it out there. So it might be a new product, a new service you're offering. You might be launching your business or launching a new part of your business. And the idea is you want everyone to know about it, because again, if they don't know about it, then they can't do anything about it.
You don't know.
100%. So with that in mind, I've noticed this a lot. Is a lot of people will get to the point where they're like, oh, it's not good enough. I can't put it out yet. I just need to tweak this, and I just need to do this. And the way that I would say is doing something terribly is 100% better than doing nothing at all. So even if you've got, I'm not suggesting you do terrible work, but if you've got something where you're like, it could be better, it could be better. The questions I would ask myself is it adding value? Is it something that's beneficial for my clients or my customers, or you know, my relationships or whatever it is? If the answer to that is yes, anything other than yes, fair play. But if the answer to that is yes, put it out there, talk about it, shout about it, just do as much as you can. Remember that everybody else is dealing with the same stuff as well. So you know, anxiety, push it to one side, run, tell everyone about it.
And I think it's really important. You know, I think we've had this conversation before, but when we launched last year, we nearly launched twice before, and we didn't because we were concerned about, well, this isn't right and that's not perfect. But nobody knew what perfect was. Only we know the version of perfect. So an imposter syndrome sometimes just comes in, as you said. It's like, I can't do this. Just get it out there, because once it's out there, what will happen then is you'll actually find out what does work and what doesn't work. But all you're doing is dealing with what you think works and what doesn't work. And you need the general public, who are your customer, them to tell you what's working and what's not working. And then you can put a marketing strategy in place with your audience that you're trying to capture, because they're giving you feedback.
Yeah, 100%. And this is the thing as well, you know, it's exactly what you're talking about. This is another way that you can get round the companies that have got way more budget than you. You can be nimble and you can be quick, and you can ask, you know, you can make changes. If Barclays Bank ask all their customers what the main things they'd like to change are, by the time they get those things fixed, it's 10 years later and there's another bunch of problems. If you're a quick kind of work at pace type company, whether you're a sole trader on your own or you've got you know 100 staff kind of thing, if you can get to the point where you can go, right, cool, I've put this thing out, I've asked people their genuine response and what they think about it and their feedback, and then if they turn around and say, well, this is bad, love that bit, blah blah blah, you can go, okay, cool, we'll change those two things real quick, we'll do that, now we'll ask you again. And it's this constant iteration of, you know, trying to get there. But again, I can't stress enough, I think I've seen so many things flop or just never get out the door because they've never got out the door. And like I said earlier, I think if something bad, not ethically bad, but something bad's being done is 100% better than doing nothing at all. You know, Absolutely. Put your running shoes on, go for a run. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I think as well, you know, people always say, oh, well, like Deliveroo. How many people said, do you know what? I thought that was a good idea, but I didn't do anything about it. Right. Well, I don't wish you had done something about it. And, you know, when we were talking about the directorschoice.com, when we launched, I'd speak to so many people and they'd be like, oh, we thought about doing something like this. And well, why didn't you? Well, because we didn't really understand we didn't really understand what we were doing. You've just got to do it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you never know. It might just work, and it might just be Deliveroo.
Well, this is it. And it was for someone, right? You know?
That was an idea that somebody had.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, I've had plenty of it. I've run businesses since I was 21. And I'm 36 now. And, you know, it's one of those where it is that thing. I hate the expression, but it's this sort of keep showing up, just keep doing it. You learn more each time. You know, you go and work in McDonald's. If you didn't learn something from that or make the most out of it, shame on you. You know, I just feel like it's that thing. Just keep learning, keep putting yourself outside your comfort zone. Surround yourself with people that make you have to work harder and make you question yourself. As soon as it's easy and you get that, like, yeah, you know, I thought about doing that and I didn't do it. Like you say, why not? What's wrong with you? You get one life, just get on with it. You know, would be my very matter of fact kind of thoughts on that. But yeah, does that all make sense? Is that handy?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it all goes in, it ties in really nicely with what you were saying last week. So, you know, if you've got that why and those goals instilled in you, you won't, okay, yeah, you will have the fear of going knocking on a CEO's door, because that's not a pleasant thing for anybody to think they're going to do, but you'll do it because you want to do it. And if that is cemented in, you'll do almost whatever you need to do, and you'll find, you know, a way around marketing when you haven't got that huge budget, to make yourself a little bit quirky, make yourself a little bit different, make yourself stand out. I know we've discussed before, and I do just want you to talk about it again, the letters that you write to people.
Oh yeah, yeah, no worries. So I just so you know, this isn't a marketing strategy. It turned into a marketing strategy after I done it the first time.
Yeah, it was.
Well, yeah, so people that know me really well will know how bad my handwriting is and how hard I find it to actually just sit down and write something. Weirdly enough, I put a book out a couple of years ago, but that was all typed. I can type, but I can't write. I'm so bad at it. And so every Christmas, I send off 5 letters. I choose 5 people that have really helped me out that year, and completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Like selflessly helped me out. Mm-hmm. So probably no time to talk about these people now in that sense, but like good people, like just amazing, aspire to be those kind of people, want them in your life. And so I'll write these letters out. And the reason I write them is because I know that when they receive it, they'll be like, oh, fair, he hates writing and he's really bad at it. And I can see it's taken ages to just conjugate like a sentence that actually makes sense or looks, you know, legible. And the first time I did that, and like I said, it was genuinely from the bottom of my heart. I just wanted to thank people. And yeah, a couple of days later, well, initially all of them phoned me up and was like, oh my God, no one's ever done this for me before. That's crazy. Like, thank you so much. And I was like, oh, fair. No, I appreciate that. And then, you know, fast forward a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and they start giving me referrals and things like that. And I was like, I didn't do it for that reason, like genuinely. My point is, though, which I still do this every year, but my point is we started employing some of those techniques within the company as well. So if we really want someone's business, and we think that we can offer something that will be beneficial to them and their clients, or that it would be beneficial for them to work with us, I'll try turning up at the office and knocking on the door. I'll write a letter, you know, things like that, where it's noisy, it cuts through everything else, because everyone is doing the, you know, ABC kind of thing. Can you do X 755? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's all about, I think what you're saying is it's all about making yourself stand out, and you don't have to have a huge budget to do that. You've just got to have a little bit of courage and to be able to think outside the box a little bit. And if you really want your business to succeed, you'll take those 2 things on board and you'll do them, because the easy way is to throw money at something. That's the easy way to do business. But unfortunately, until you've got a really successful business, you don't have the money to throw at it. So you're going to have to put yourself out there. And also, I think it ties up nicely with the fact that you are a brand within your business and people will remember you. So, you know, it's not necessarily it's not necessarily about Reform, though. People will remember Lee from Reform. They don't just remember Reform. So you become a brand within your business, and that's what's going to make you stand out as well. And you that doesn't cost you anything to use yourself as a brand. So I would encourage everybody to start thinking outside of the box and maybe start writing letters to people. That might be the way forward. Royal Mail will love you.
Well, yeah. Especially before Christmas as well. It's it's this, you know, and thinking of those things really, really helpful. Thank you for the kind words, by the way. That's very appreciated.
That's absolutely fine. I don't say anything that's not true. Well, thank you so much for number 2 in the series. We will be back again next week with not the penultimate, which is one of my favorite words, in the vodcast series. If you want any help and advice, support, guidance around marketing, you can go to the directorschoice.com platform. And I'm sure Lee would be more than happy to have a conversation with anybody that wants it. You can actually find Lee on the funding area of our platform, but he's more than happy to chat to you about anything and everything. Right. I shall see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hopefully you don't get bombarded with lots of letters now, Lee. Handwritten letters.
Love that. I would. But depending on what they say. But yeah, no, I'd love that.
Right. Well, thank you so much. It was a great way to start on Monday again. And I will see you at the same time next week.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam.
Bye. Bye.